The pressure is growing bigger on Ferrari because they are yet to cooperate and unlock Matt Armstrong's Ferrari 296, despite finally reaching out to him. And if you've been following this story from the beginning, you already know why that single sentence changes everything about where this rebuild stands right now. Because here's what made this whole situation sting even more for the community. When Ferrari first made contact with Matt, people genuinely celebrated. In a world where right to repair is dying by the day, where manufacturers are locking out independent builders faster than ever, it felt like a rare win. It felt like a big company blinking first. Fans flooded the comments saying this was the moment, that Ferrari were finally going to be the exception. But that feeling didn't last long, because weeks have now passed and the car still won't start. Ferrari still hasn't unlocked the system, and the question that nobody wants to say out loud is starting to get louder every single day. Did Ferrari reach out to genuinely help Matt, or did they reach out to control the narrative before it got worse for them? And then, right in the middle of that silence, something happened in the comments that nobody saw coming. Former Ferrari engineers started showing up, hybrid specialists, ex-technicians who spent years inside the exact ecosystem Ferrari is now using to lock Matt out. And they didn't just offer sympathy. They started leaving step-by-step technical breakdowns in public, visible to anyone watching. Ferrari may have already lost the fight the moment those comments appeared. So let's get into exactly what these insiders said. The first comment that the community started sharing around came from a former Ferrari technician based out of Dubai. And what he said directly challenges the entire battery replacement narrative that has been floating around this build. He said, "Hev Matt, ex-Ferrari tech here from Dubai. Hope your project is going well. I don't really think you need a brand new HV battery to fix your car. I can give Vu some tips which could be helpful for your rebuild. Basically, once the car detected a crash, the internal HV contactors will be open inside the HV battery, and the HV SVS stem will enable HV service mode by itself, which will shut off HV during the crash. So you can try one thing, that after replacing all airbays, including the SRS controller, make sure all the electrical connections are intact, including HV connections and CAN bus. Find a scanning tool which is compatible for hybrid Ferrari architecture. After these steps, the car's supposed to power up, and here is the part that changes everything. In HV service mode, the battery isn't dead, it's locked. There is a difference, and it is a massive one." His advice to Matt was methodical and specific. Replace all deployed airbags and replace the SRS controller because the car's safety logic won't allow any forward movement in the startup sequence until those components register as fully operational. Then verify every single high-voltage connection and every CAN bus line throughout the car, because one broken signal on that network and the system refuses to move. After that, the process requires a Ferrari-compatible hybrid scan tool to disable HV service mode entirely and then run a proxy alignment to re-establish communication between the car's control modules. If that sequence works, the car could theoretically start without ever needing a brand new high-voltage battery. And if that's true, the question becomes why Ferrari never once mentioned any of this to Matt during outreach. That question does not have a clean answer. But that's where it got worse, because the second expert comment stacked an entirely new problem on top of the first. A specialist hybrid mechanic, someone with direct experience on Ferrari's thermal management architecture, came in with a detail the community had not even considered yet. He explained that even if Matt clears the HV service mode and gets the battery talking to the car again, the 296 may still refuse to start unless two additional conditions are fully met. First, the air conditioning system needs to be fully functional and recognized by the car. Second, the coolant fill procedure has to be completed to a precise specification. Not rough, not approximate, exact. And the reason for that is buried in Ferrari's hybrid logic in a way that most people rebuilding these cars would never know to look for. The battery cooling valves in the 296 are electronically controlled. They don't open mechanically. They open when the correct service routine commands them to open. Until that command runs, the valves stay closed. And a car with closed battery cooling valves will not allow startup because the thermal management system reads that state as a potential fire risk. The car isn't broken in that scenario. The car is protecting itself from what it believes could be an overheating event, which means Matt's no start issue may have almost nothing to do with a dead or damaged battery. It may be a locked cooling logic sequence that nobody told him about, sitting there completely solvable, waiting for a procedure that Ferrari has never publicly documented for independent builders. That's the open loop sitting over this entire rebuild right now. And before we go any deeper, if you're watching this and you believe independent builders like Matt have the right to fix what they own, hit subscribe, because Ferrari is about to find out that keeping a closed system only works until the people who built that system start talking. And they already have. This is where Ferrari lost control. Because when you combine the HV service mode revelation with the coolant logic detail, former insiders have now essentially handed Matt a full diagnostic roadmap in the YouTube comments section. Publicly. Permanently. And the community is watching every word of it in real time. Because the story is bigger now. And it keeps growing. And then a third voice entered the conversation. And this one hit differently than the others. A retired Ferrari factory technician, someone who worked directly on the hybrid integration during the 296's development cycle, left a comment that the community flagged almost immediately. He didn't just address the startup sequence. He addressed why the system was designed to be this locked in the first place. He explained that Ferrari's hybrid architecture was built with deliberate service barriers from the ground up, not primarily as safety features for the driver, but as a commercial protection layer. The logic was simple. If independent shops could service the high-voltage system without Ferrari-approved tools and software, it would undercut the dealer network on some of the highest-margin service work in the entire lineup. The lockout isn't accidental engineering. It's intentional business strategy embedded in the car's code. And reading that publicly, in a comment section that hundreds of thousands of people move through, changed the temperature of this conversation overnight. But that's where it got worse. Because the community didn't just accept that comment and move on. They started cross-referencing it. Builders and mechanics in the comments began pulling up cases from other Ferrari hybrid owners, private owners who had taken their cars to independent European workshops after relatively minor incidents, and been told by those shops that they simply couldn't proceed without factory-level diagnostic access. Cars that sat for months. Owners who ended up back at dealerships paying rates that made no commercial sense just to get a startup authorization cleared. Matt's situation isn't a one-off. It's the same system operating exactly as it was designed to. The difference is that Matt is doing it publicly, on camera, with a community large enough to make Ferrari's silence visible to everyone watching. And that visibility is the one thing Ferrari's service architecture was never designed to handle. What happened next changes everything. Because the conversation stopped being just about one car. Advocates in the right-to-repair space started referencing Matt's build in threads and discussions that had nothing to do with Ferrari specifically. Legal analysts who follow manufacturer software lockout cases started weighing in on the broader implications. If a manufacturer can embed code that prevents an independent party from restarting a legally owned vehicle after a crash, and then withhold the tools and procedures needed to clear that code, what does that actually mean for ownership? Not just in the car world. In any space where software is increasingly the key to using the physical thing you paid for. Matt's Ferrari 296 became, without anyone planning it, a case study for something much larger than a rebuild channel video. But here's the detail that nobody is saying out loud yet. And it's the part that should be keeping Matt up at night. These systems are layered. Ferrari's hybrid architecture doesn't have one lock. It has several. The ex-insiders have addressed two of them. The HV service mode barrier. The cooling logic sequence. What none of them have confirmed yet is whether those are the final gates, or whether the car's control system has another layer of protection sitting on the other side. A system built with this level of deliberate complexity doesn't usually stop at two checkpoints. And the moment Matt clears the cooling logic, the real question becomes what the car asks for next. Does the battery management system require a fresh calibration that only factory tools can perform? Does the hybrid control unit need a software authorization that the scan tool can't replicate without a live connection to Ferrari's server? Does the car simply start, or does it star?